Zach, it's been quite a while since we've seen you at a UFC fight week, fighting for yourself. Talk to me about what this past couple of years has been like for you.
Uh, Honestly, it's been rough. It's been dark. Had some injuries, and not only was I had the opportunity to do the stuff that I love to do, which is training and competing, taken away from me. Regular life at home was rough. Couldn't pick my kids up, all that stuff. So it got dark for a little bit, but over some time, the body started healing and could pick the daughter up, start playing a little bit, coaching, showing a little bit more stuff in the gym, and then just as month by month came in, I was able to do more and more and start playing around with the guys in the gym a little bit more, and not just show stuff, but to go live and compete and train. And it finally got to a point where I knew I could still do this and do this to a higher level, and I knew I had to have a comeback for me personally, not really for anybody else, but just me personally. And it's it all worked out. It's a perfect storm because it was right when the time came that I knew that I was able to do this. You guys decided to come to my backyard in Kansas City, and like I said, it's a perfect storm, and I'm overly excited for it.
For people that weren't familiar with what was going on with you, it was a back issue, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been dealing with some back stuff over time and everything, and then I was getting ready for I think the Sam Alvey fight, and then I just had a lot of pain and a lot of nerve issues and stuff, and then I was in a really awkward position, and I hate to admit it, but I sneezed, and it blew a disc out that was dangling to the vertebrae below it, and it's completely blocking my nerves, my spinal cord off, and it left me bedridden for 3 months. It really did. It took me a long time to get into the neurosurgeon to. I wanted to make sure if I'm dealing with that stuff, I'm seeing someone high level, and it took me a while, but the second he saw me, he got me, in surgery immediately and got everything clipped out and taken care of. But yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was rough.
What was the turning point where you kind of decided I can do this again? Was it just with the way you felt after surgery?
No, definitely not. I got to a point after surgery where quality of life was different. It was I think I took so much for granted that during that time where I couldn't do anything and you got a 3-year-old girl looking at you why can't daddy pick me up? I've done a lot of cool stuff in this sport. I've been all over the world. It's taken me, all over and back. And it's, if I never fought again, I was really okay with it. I've been doing this for a decade with the UFC now, and I've been fighting since '07. I mean, I've been in, I've done a lot of cool stuff, and I'm happy with what I've done. I was really unhappy with quality of life, with family and stuff like that. But the healthier you get, the more you move. This stuff is very much a part of me, and it's one of those where I needed to prove to myself that I could get back to what I was and stuff. And turning point, honestly, tell you the truth, after I signed this contract, I knew I was gonna do it. I can fight. I can get in there and I can compete with anybody. That's just how it is. I'm not going to get blown out of the water by anybody in the world. But training to get to these fights is another ball game. You're in, day in, day out, hours a day, just beating your body down. And at first I was okay, we just got to get to the fight. And then as I'm going and training and going with some, big, heavy, high-level guys, guys that are highly ranked in the world, and my body was holding up. I was man, we can do this. We can do this, and we can, and not just show up. We can do this and compete and be here. And I'm really excited that my body kind of held up that way and answered whenever I needed it. And I'm excited just to show up and have fun.
Different mental clarity coming into this fight, a new perspective. I'm assuming maybe can you just talk about that? Is there less pressure just knowing it's a fight versus what you were fighting for outside the cage?
For sure. Yeah, very different. I mean, I love doing this, and I will always be competitively minded. If I don't think I can compete to win, I'm not going to do it. And for sure, I know I can do that. But I've done so much stuff. I've had so much fun in this. I've just been enjoying the process and the journey. And I mean, obviously, I'm fighting to win and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, the mindset's very different. I feel like knowing that it got taken away from me for a little bit and possibly taken away for everything, forever, it was, I kind of realized like what was really important, what wasn't, stuff like that. I mean, again, like I'm here to compete and I'm here to win, but the fact that I could just have the process up to even like be here with you guys today and enjoy that moment has just been so much fun. So I'm in a much healthier, positive state of mind and just enjoying and just having fun.
Last one for me. They matched you up with Ed Herman. I know a lot of people kind of dig this matchup. Two vets, guys that always bring it. He's the longest tenured fighter on the UFC roster, so you must have been somewhat familiar with him when they offered you Ed.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm a fan of Ed before I even started fighting, before I got in the UFC. Like, we've been on the same cards together. We've, seen each other, hung out with each other out in the locker rooms and stuff, just being around. I like Ed. I respect the hell out of him. And that's who I'd rather compete against someone like that. I don't ever, again, it's a human chess match to me. I don't need any emotion. I don't need to be upset and stuff like that to fight somebody. I highly respect him. He's very well-rounded. He's good. He's got good striking. He's good on the ground and good dirty boxing in the clinch. But I'm a very well-rounded fighter myself, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun puzzle to crack. And it's, if I get to come back and get someone like Ed, it's just gonna be fun. I've already accepted a fight against him once before. I think like the week after my last fight, and they went a different route for whatever it was. So I just mentally was already willing and okay to fight him. So yeah, whenever they brought that one up, man, I smiled. It made sense. And one of the few reasons I was willing to come up another weight class at 205 and do that was I really enjoyed the matchup.
It's Zach over here, based out of Kansas City. So hey, speaking of Kansas City, you gonna enjoy having a little bit of a home arena advantage, if you will. And what's the family situation like, getting everybody to come watch you again?
No, yeah, I mean, I've owned a gym here for 9 years. I fought here when they came 6 years to the date. Had a first round finish. Had a ridiculous support system come out then. To be able to be the only fighter to fight on the same card twice and stuff, especially like as a local, it's huge and stuff. So, like I said earlier, it was a perfect storm. I had the timing for me to come back, and then they come to my backyard to Kansas City. Like it makes sense, man. I'm overly excited. I'm at the end of my career. Like this is possibly a retirement fight. I've got 2 on my contract. I got no desire really to sign another contract, but more than anything, I know for sure that all of my local support, this will be the last time they ever get to see me compete live, and that's special, and that's something that most people don't get, and I definitely understand that, and I'm very thankful and grateful that the UFC was able to make this happen.
You mentioned your daughter. Has she seen you fighting before, and how cool is that going to be when going from what you described as you may not be able to being able to pick her up to now seeing you back to competing again?
Yeah, I mean, I always told I kept saying like, I got to get back. I got to do one more for me. Like for me, I do one more. And the other stuff that you got to do to get ready for this thing, like I wasn't quite doing, and like I said, I have the gym. She's in the gym all the time. She sees all these fighters coming up and everything. I own a local promotion as well, and she goes to the fights and stuff. And so she's seen me fight some videos and everything. And then I think I was telling her that one of my cornermen, Mike England, was getting ready to fight, and she loves him to death. So I told her he's got a fight coming up, and she was all excited, and she was like, "That's great, but like, Daddy, when are you gonna fight? Like, I want to see that one." I was like, "Oh man, okay, that's all I needed to hear." Like she said that, yeah, she's gonna be up on the floor, second row, whatever it is. She gets to see it. I got 2 daughters, but she's at the age where she understands what's going on and stuff, and she likes training. She loves being in the gym and stuff. I mean, she's only 5, but she is she's very wise beyond her years and stuff. So having her support and her wanting me to do this and she kind of went with me with a little of the fight camp and stuff, and it's just been a little kind of a special moment with daddy and daughter, and that means more to me than anything.
So you would say that's kind of the biggest reason, maybe within the past 3 years, you haven't been able to get in the octagon, but to return, that's a huge reason.
100%. That girl looking at me wanting to watch me fight and watch me do the thing I love to do, and the passion that we share together. I can't think of anything better. Like it's yeah, I can't describe it, but that's 100% the most motivational thing I can think of. And like I keep saying I'm happy to be here, and I know a lot of times when people say that, they're like, oh, like didn't really care about competing. If you think I'm gonna lose in front of that little girl, you are crazy.
Zach, I wanted to follow up on some of his questions that he asked you. When you talk about your journey, I know you had the three. What's been the biggest struggle for you to get to where you are now? And I hear you talking about maybe finishing out your contract and not signing another one. So, because I don't want to seem like you got one half, one foot in the octagon, the other half into retirement already. So, can you give me an idea of the journey that it took you to get to where you are right now, and then how you plan on, getting through this contract of yours?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle on I got 2 fights in my contract, right? I'm 38. I've had a lot of wars. I've had a lot of, my body's been beat up. I've had injuries. It's taken me out, 1 year here, almost 3 years here and stuff like that. So it's, I'm very understanding of like what I'm capable of, right? And I know I'm at the end of that, and so mentally I'm all in, but for what I have left. But I do understand that like my body's gonna hold up for so long, and I love coaching, and I love seeing these this next generation, have success, and I'm excited to see what they can do and be a part of it. And I'm so I'm okay with understanding I'm at the end of things, right? So the journey has just been. I've been in sports my whole life. I mean, I've been competing. I'm obsessed with this, right? But I can compete in multiple different ways, right? I can compete in business. I can compete, as a coach. As I get older, I understand like that competition that drives me doesn't have to be a physical competition all the time for just me, which I enjoy because that gives me, the same drive and the same push. Whenever I do lay my gloves down, I'm done. So, I mean, the journey's it's fun. I get to do the stuff I love to do every day. I train, I work out, I have fun with the guys in the gym, and it's just life. It's just normal life to me, and it's being able to do it again at the level is, it's just that's kind of just been the fun part.
Last question. With you fighting in, at home here in Kansas City, is there any additional pressure? I mean, because, people want to, hey, can you give me a ticket? So, I mean, are there like outside pressures for when a hometown kid is fighting in this hometown versus just, other fighters that are just coming in to fight?
I mean, I'm sure there's some additional pressure, I mean, like you don't want to go out there and just get blown out, by, in front of your home crowd. That's never happened to me. And I just have a very high self-confidence of my skill set. So I don't like the worst thing that can happen. I don't know. The worst thing that can happen is, you lose in front of everybody, but I mean, I've been in this. It's not like I'm undefeated. I've got a very good record, a very good reputation. Like I'm tough, I'm durable. I don't worry too much about that. You get maybe some extra calls and people asking questions. I mean, it's but again, I did it 6 years ago. I feel like the harder part was the first time I did this. So they came here for the first time in Missouri. I was the very first local fighter to be able to fight, and we got there. We had a first round finish. A great night, and we had it was another special experience and stuff. So I think just being there and dealing with this once already, like, kind of shut most of that down. So I mean, sure. I mean, again, like I compete for me, So doing it in my hometown and stuff like that, like you never. But I mean, you're on TV, like they're gonna see it anyway. So there's not really much extra pressure. Again, this and this one very much is for me and that little girl, more than anything. So it's if there was any other extra pressure, it's maybe having her in the stands, but I would just look at more motivation.